son, if you don't hit me with this fucking chair, I'm going to fuck you up. Just like that.
Oh, shit.
Pac had the fear of Alpha in him.
Welcome back, Wrestle Nerds. Victor Villain here. Let's see who's making their way to the ring.
Pretty chubby flaco, dímelo mi gente.
The All-Father, Old School Joe.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been doing this for quite a while now, but it's not until now that we were gonna do something real special for y'all, man. Tonight we've been blessed to bring you one of our own. Ladies and gentlemen, Shooting the Ish has journeyed through some of the most amazing talents all across the map. But tonight, Shooting the Ish comes home. Brooklyn, stand up. Jersey, stand up. One half of the legendary hit squad and East Coast icon, Steve Monsta Mack. How you doing tonight, my brother?
Wow, what an intro. I'm hyped now. Let's party.
Let's get it. Let's get it going, fam.
Let's get it cracking, Pops. What's up?
Yo, how you been, man? And how you doing?
I'm good. I'm not too bad. Just dealing with this. I hate the fall. I'm a summer guy. So I change the seasons. I know, the snowflakes are like, but look at the colors of the leaves.
Yeah, nah.
But, other than that, I'm all right. Right this weekend I got Titan Championship Wrestling, and it's the number one. It's a Mount Olympus Rumble, which is just a fancy term for a battle royal, and the winner
all of those.
The first inaugural Titan Championship Wrestling heavyweight champion, and
okay.
I don't know why I just got this feeling.
Hey. And all that's all you need sometimes for that confidence, man. You just need that little feeling and that right moment, that right switch up, boom, winner all the time, man. And talk to me about Titan Championship, man. You stepped into the cage, man, recently with our boy Gary Wolf, right?
Oh yeah.
Back in October. Talk to me about that real quick.
The Extreme Legends. First time I ever get a chance. All these years I've had interactions with Gary Wolf, and he's someone that I kind of looked up to because, like I said in some of my promos. I grew up in New York. I grew up watching ECW at 1 a.m. on MSG. And, me and Low Key, my cousin, we looked up to everything that was ECW. We came up, WWE hadn't sparked stuff up yet. NWO really hadn't sparked stuff up yet. But ECW, it was where it was at. And we knew that we wanted to be part of that style. We love Japanese. We love Lucha. And just seeing the stuff that they were doing was just like, wow. And then our boy Low Life Louie, he really put us onto some stuff. So, from there, it just grew and grew. And the Pitbulls, man, they were they were monsters, and it didn't matter how big they were or whatever. When you saw them, they looked like just these monsters that their skin was about to rip off their body. And everything about them was extreme. And, getting in there with Gary Wolf was a one-of-a-kind experience. He went to go throw me through a TV, and that was stuck on the cage, and because they had weapons attached all throughout the cage, and someone brought a TV.
Oh, how nice!
Jeez.
That's so awful.
Oh yeah, it was insane. It was insane. He threw me to the TV, but it still had the legs on it. So I was like an inch away from getting impaled, and I was like,
oh no.
Yeah, but it was good times. It was, listen, we're all here having fun, and Steve Monsta Mack is this legend, but the real Steve is this guy who just turned 41 this year, and I've been doing it for 23 years, going on 24 years. So, certain things as you get older, you have to be smart and realize you can't do anymore. So, being that this is probably going to be one of my last cage matches, unless something pops off, I took it as my opportunity to hit one of my last Van Terminators, back in 2001, I was at the doghouse. I was like, screw it, let me see if I can hit it, and I hit it perfect. And I just kept doing it, and I saved it. I always keep it in my back pocket because you never know. And maybe about, I want to say about 15 times in my career I've hit it. And in that match with Gary Wolf was probably my last one that I'll ever hit. purposely. You know what I mean? Because sometimes when you get in the ring, you just don't know. Things just happen.
Yeah, something happens that you're in the fields and
Yeah.
you get it, take it back.
Yep.
That's when we win. That's
Yep.
when the fans win, baby, because you give us that nostalgia, and there's a wrap after that. I
Oh,
know
yeah.
old school can second to and attest surely to what you were just talking about, because he's a big fan for sure of those times. And you talk to him about those that hit squad back in the day, man. You guys, man, tore it down to say, and that's just saying it lightly.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, it's funny. I was telling someone the other day, back in 99, 2000, the Indies was a different place. The Indies was a place where people were trying to make a quick buck, and if there were guys on TV or whatever, they were kind of laid back. And you have me and Moth, the Hit Squad. You had Loki, Homicide. You had SAT, Maisie Red, Quiet Storm, Divine, the Briscoe Brothers. All these cats, we were all hungry, and we did something. We just changed the entire climate. But for us, the four of us, Moth, Key, Homicide, and myself, we took it a little step extra, because back then, New York, nobody respected New York when it came to wrestling for whatever reason. I have no idea why. But we came and we smashed through the glass ceiling. And not only did we do it for New York, we did it for all the Hispanics and Latinos in professional wrestling. Because back then, we were looked at as, I mean, look, Johnny Rods. Johnny, mad respect to Johnny Rods. He was someone that everybody tested. But if you ask some of the other cats, that's just the homie from downtown Brooklyn. You know what I mean? Pedro Morales. Pedro Morales was a champ. But did they celebrate Pedro Morales the way they should have? I don't think so. You know what I mean? And like, what was that?
Very underappreciated in that, in that respect.
Very much. And what sweet dude. You know what I mean? Like, Matt, really cool dude. But I always felt like, and I'm not the first one. I'm not the one to be like, oh, it's all about racing. You got to be, you got to stand up for yours. Because I believe everybody deserves a chance to prove themselves. Doesn't matter if they're black, white, yellow, red, whatever. But when it comes to me, I mean, look, I'm 5'9", 260 pounds, right? When I started, I was 230 pounds. I was this short, chubby kid, Hispanic kid from Brooklyn. I wasn't expected to do nothing, right? But because of pro wrestling, I legit traveled from coast to worldwide, like we like to say in our little gang, you know what I mean? And I got a chance to wrestle some of the best wrestlers on TV today, and in the past, and some in the future. You know what I mean? And it's all because of professional wrestling, all the stuff I was able to do. And I know that I opened the doors. I know me and Moff take a lot of pride because LAX, Santana Ortiz, EYFBO, Proud and Powerful, they looked up to us. And we were able to pass the torch to them. And look how far they're going with it now. You know what I mean? One of the best, bar none. And it's because they understood what was being passed to them. Not only was it the New York rep, it was the Latino rep, it was the Hit Squad rep. All of that combined into one, and we gave it to them. And now they're making it so that it's their own, but it's still representing us. You know what I mean? So nice. Eddie Kingston's another one of our boys. Right now, who's hotter than Eddie Kingston?
Woo!
He's on fire.
Matter of fact, he shouted you guys out on Twitter when he was putting out the tributes. I remember seeing that.
Yeah, I mean,
he called the DHS.
Eddie was at my wedding with boys. You know what I mean? Like, listen, man. Are we going to be seeing each other every day? No, because professional wrestling, that's how it is. You see each other when you see each other, but it's always love, and we always represent and respect each other. And, Eddie, I'm very proud of Eddie because, a lot of the stuff, I know where that pain comes from. I sat and talked to him. A lot of that's real. When he talks about having family members that were drunk and alcoholics and stuff like that, that's real. That's not fake. You know what I mean? But he uses that. He draws upon it. It's his power, his secret power. That pain is stored in his head, and he takes it out in his words. He's a wordsmith, no matter what. You know what I mean? And he don't have to use fancy words. He just got to say the right ones to make you feel it in your heart, and he's perfect for that.
Word. He's playing it the right way too right now, man. Hot main event scene. How does that? Because he came up with y'all, right? So like, how was the experience? Because I know you're working with TCW. I want to ask you about Invictus in a little while too. But your experience at that time, it was the experience of an underdog promotion, proving everybody wrong. How much different was that experience with your boys? On top of that, versus to what you're working. It's a completely different ball game now. Maybe it's different. Just talk to me about experiencing that, because that's got to be a once in a lifetime opportunity, right? That you get to live through that, right?
Yeah, big time. I mean, when you look at it, right now, again, I always feel in my heart that while people see me as a legend, people see me as a name or whatever it is that people see me as, I don't see myself as that. I see myself as someone who's lucky, because I get a chance to wrestle and do something that I enjoy doing, that I love doing. Since Loki's father, my uncle, showed me when I was 3 or 4 years old, showed me about professional wrestling. My grandfather, he showed me about professional wrestling. And like when I hear stories of all the old relatives who were before my time, they love pro wrestling. And I hear all the time my grandmother, who I never met, she would have loved me, not only because I was a boy, but because I loved professional wrestling. I became a wrestler. She loved professional wrestling. So when I hear stuff like that, I realize how lucky I am that I am able to take opportunities and make something with them. And one of my proudest moments, it was almost 20 years ago, right? We got to go to Japan, right? It was me, Homicide, and Moth. We went to Big Japan. But the crazy thing is, we went there on a Sunday. I'm sorry, we went there on a Sunday. That following week, Loki was there. So all four of us were in Japan together. And we all came from the same school. We all went to the doghouse in Brooklyn because of Bobby Lombardi opened up the school for us. And we took advantage of it. And we were able to make it pay off for us. You know what I mean? How many times can anyone say that they traveled out of state, let alone across the world with their boys? You
That's
know what I mean? They
amazing.
pay for it
And dudes from the block.
Yeah, yeah. So for me, the experience back then, I mean, we were legit. Like it sounds corny, but we were legit blazing our own trail because there was nobody before us doing what we were doing. There might have been, you had the Texas Outlaws with Stan Hansen, Brody, Funks. You know what I mean? Those guys, they did their own thing.
Down, old school. Down.
Well, no, you know what though? When you talk about Brody and Hanson, that's something that you guys kind of brought back, especially to the indie scene. That American strong style, right? Where the hits were just hits. It wasn't you didn't sit there going, nah, man, it's fake. You were like, God damn, he took his head off.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, you know what it was though. Like we were a collective. There was multiples of us doing the same style. There were other wrestlers around the country, guys like Reckless Youth, uh, Daniel Bryan, Christopher Daniels. Those guys were doing it on the West Coast and in between, but they were like one here, one there. Whereas in New York, it was centralized between the Hit Squad, SAT, Homicide, Loki, Amazing Red, like I said, Quiet Storm, all these guys, Boogaloo, Lowrider, all these guys. I gotta say, shout out to my boy Guapo, because if I don't, he'll kill me. But
Hey, shout out to Guapo.
but all these guys, we were all training with the same mentality. We wanted to bust through that glass ceiling. When you think about it, the Hit Squad was one of the first tag teams to main event on the Indies on a regular basis. We were being brought in as the standout. We were the reason why you came to the show. Back then, there weren't that many tag teams that were doing that. And if they were, they were for WWE, they were for ECW. We didn't have none of that. We came through and we were just guys that, we told the guys that we were working with, listen, man, we can make this fun or we can make this boring. Let's make it fun. You give me a shot, I'll give you a shot. If you hit me too hard, I'm gonna let you know you hit me too hard because I'm gonna hit you right back.
Go get that receipt,
Here's your
baby.
receipt.
Yeah,
Got that receipt, exactly.
But we all had an understanding that we were doing it to better the show and better our standing. And it paid off because Ring of Honor, if Ring of Honor don't start, who knows start, but Ring of Honor is the place that got us all together to make that next leap for independent wrestling. It's crazy because sometimes, like I said, man, I'm really nobody. I'm just Steve, man, But like when I look back at some of the stuff that I was a part of, like Ring of Honor changed wrestling, and that happened because of what we were doing. And I get yelled at by Homicide. You too humble, you too humble. And that's just how I am. You know what I'm saying?
I almost said it right now too. I almost just said it myself.
Just the names you guys kind of, I don't want to say brought up, but they had to kind of go through you before the Briscoes, Akimo, and the Samoans.
Check first.
Jay Lethal.
Right.
hmm Yep. There was a lot of guys who were like 5 years after us in that time. Like we came, we did what we had to do. We did the little grind, and then they came and we elevated them and we elevated ourselves. And it was cool because again, you could go to any show, work anybody, and you could turn anything. I mean, unless the person was an absolute like non-athletic, and even then you could use entertaining. You know what I mean? But like they had to be an absolute rock, nothing going for them, for us not to be able to pull something out of them. And it's cool. We had, I don't know how many of you guys know. There's a guy named Metal Maniac, and he used to wrestle with Jimmy Snuka a lot on the East Coast on the Indies because he would give Jimmy a ride or whatever. And a lot of people knew Metal Maniac as like he had his time it was winding down, whatever. And me and Moff got paired up against him and this guy Casey, I can't remember, Casey Beach, something like that. But he was a Southern dude, and he was just up here because he was traveling with the ring that they used, and he's from Kentucky or someplace like that. And me and Moff gave them the bet. They both came up to us. Thank you. You gave us our best match in years. You know what I mean? And like people were watching it. And he said the same thing about Metal Maniac. I've never seen Metal Maniac move like that. You know what I mean? And it was just something that we had. Like, I think, part of it is, it's a couple of things, like the energy and the vibe that we bring. Like, one of my favorite all-time things is we're getting ready for the Beyond Wrestling Tournament for tomorrow finals. And it's me and Moff, Dickinson and Jaka, Shinron and Kimberly, and Santana and Ortiz, right? So we're in the back, and we're just sitting. Nobody's talking, and we're just sitting and vibing. All of a sudden, Moff starts banging a drum beat on the wall. And it was just a simple beat. It was nothing. And then Jaka starts singing Aguanile. You know what I mean? And it set the mood that everybody, even Kimberly and Shimron and Dixon and Chop, like everybody was just fire, pure white fire. You know what I mean? And I've never felt anything like that, and I can't say that I'll ever feel anything like that again. But the vibe that we just brought right there, you know what I mean? That's Moff's magic. Moff, no matter what, Moff knows how to get people to like dig deep, whereas I come and I'm like, I put the chest together. You know what I mean? But Moff brings that emotion. So he's bringing that, and I mean, it's on YouTube if you look it up. I mean, we went about 25 minutes, and down to the last hit, we were throwing bombs and grenades, and it was we were just fired up, everybody from that. You know what I mean? So it's just something that the Hit Squad had that not too many people I'll ever know what that chemistry is like with too many people.
That's awesome. Steve, I was gonna ask, any favorite tag teams that the Hit Squad like to work with? Some of your favorites?
So for me, I have a few. I mean, I know they don't get enough recognition, but I love wrestling with Special K. Dixie, Dragon, Range, Azrael. That four. Just everything about them was, we told stories. Even when it was just Dixie and Dragon and JAP, they were two brothers from Bayonne, and they were the underdogs, and we were the big bad Hit Squad, and we got their family involved, and we started riots because the daughter slapped Moff, and Moff was about to slap her, and the father stepped in, and then all of Bayonne stepped in behind them, and like when they won the tag belts and they beat us, like it was, I can't even describe how loud it was. It was just something that was just insane, like boom, and everything we did with them was just always a great story. I love the SAT. SAT and Santana Ortiz are neck and neck, my favorites, because they always push me. They pull a lot out of me, athletically, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and I love like just playing chess with them, because especially the Maximos, they were always trying to, like, they loved us and we respected them, but they were always trying to one up them, and it was legit, like it was some real like nonsense, like, and it's pro wrestling, so you think everything's just, that's just how they play. No, man, like it was competitive. It was sharks, and it just they brought out so much great stuff out of the Hit Squad, and you know, like there've been some other matches like Russ and Charlie Haas were our first feud, and they taught us how to be tough. You know, they just we had you had to look at it. There were two corn-fed white boys from Oklahoma, Seton Hall standouts, pure wrestling geniuses, and here we are, just these two thugs from the street, and the mesh of styles just we went at it, and people felt it. You know what I mean? And that was just something that it will always be special, especially with Russ passing and at an early age, and there's just so many things. And then but like then you got to throw in the legends. Like I've been in there with the Steiners, Samoan SWAT team, the Road Warriors, Demolition.
Wow.
I've been in there with every major tag team except the Rock and Roll Express and the Hard.
Wow.
But like,
there's still time for rock and roll.
What's that?
There's still time for rock and roll.
It's not the same. Like I know I can still give one great match in there. You know what I mean, with them, but it's not the same without the right. You know what I mean? And me and Moff got to be on the same page for that. Right now, he wants to do his thing, and I'm doing mine. But hey, you never say never.
Respect.
But
never say never.
Right.
Exactly. In the wrestling business.
That is true. Facts. So I was gonna ask you about some riot squads in the crowd, because I know with you and Moff and the legendary bangers that y'all have, man, there's got to be some stories with some rioters out there, some wild and crazy happenings.
So I have one of the craziest stories that anybody's ever seen. I mean, I've been a part of like maybe 10 riots in my career, you know what I mean? Which is kind of hot, you know? But the most infamous one was, and it wasn't a full-on riot, but it was right, I mean, it was, if it wasn't for the cops, somebody would have. I mean, it was one of those things. But I got two stories in mind for you. But first one is, we were wrestling for the Samoans out in Allentown for WXW. And the group was me, Moff Key, Mana, the Polynesian Warrior, and Samu, the Great Samu. That was a group. We were the bad guys against the Samoans. Alpha Jr., LA Smooth, and there was two other guys. I can't remember who it was, right? But we did a promo where Samu confronted his father, Alpha, the Wild Samoan. And so Moff, I don't know how you miss him. Moff is huge, you know what I mean? Moff somehow, we were outside the ring on the floor, and Moff somehow went around the ring and slammed Alpha Senior with a chair. The Wild Samoan Alpha with a chair, right? Wow. So everybody was like, now the thing was, there was only 4 people that knew that this was going to happen. Me, Moff, Alpha, and Samu. Nobody else knew. Not Alpha's wife, not his family, nobody. Oh. He was already in his 60s. You know what I mean? So, I mean, let me tell you though, you told Moff, said, son, if you don't hit me with this fucking chair, I'm going to fuck you up. Just like that.
Oh, shit.
Moff had the fear of Alpha in him. So he ran back and killed him. Like he had a grand slam in the World Series. You know what I mean? So turn was Samu was like, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. So we beat up Samu. We have the entire Samoan family laid out in the ring, took off their shirts and spray painted their backs yellow. Ooh. The crowd literally knocked the guardrail down and was trying to kill us and get in the ring. And Pops, Alpha's wife, Lynn, she came out. She's cursing. She never curses. What the fuck are you doing? He said, oh, no. So this was live TV in Pennsylvania. So what we did was we waited. Cameras were clear. We went to the back, right? Kevin Kelly, who's used to be WWE, now he's New Japan. He's back there. He was watching the segment. So he's like, dude, right now, they like, you can hear the cops. Get back. Don't make me pull it out. Get back. Yeah, shit. The whole front row just wanted to kill us. So what we did was, he goes, you got to send them home happy. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to leave. And this place is going to be tore up. He's like, get back out there and just have them kill you. All right, fine. So it didn't matter. You know what I mean? So we went back out. The fans, as we're coming out, the fans are trying to get us. throwing shit at us and whatever. So we get in, we tell them, all right, get your receipts, whatever. And it ends with Alpha Jr. hitting this, super duper high splash onto me. And it sounded like when Hogan would hit the you and the whole
shit.
Oh wow, the roar of the crowd.
Everyone relaxed. Everyone chilled. And me, Moss, and Key, we're laying next to each other. We're like, yo, we're not leaving until this place is empty out. You know what I mean? So then the second story is I went to Puerto Rico to wrestle for IWA.
Aye.
I loved it. It was awesome. I wrestled Ricky Banderas in two matches, and then a 6-man where I got to be in there with all the legends of PR. You know what I mean? And it was awesome for me. But the last night of the tour, I wrestled Ricky Banderas. He's the babyface. I'm the heel. And it was weird. It was like a indoor tennis court, and like about 20 feet away from where the ring was, there was a chain link fence that was posted into the ground, like it wasn't moving, you know. So we start brawling. He's like, "Let's go over by the fence." All right, cool. So now I'm trying to watch because they throw rocks and shit like that. So I'm watching. I'm hitting him, whatever. So he gets over by the fence and he's sitting down. And I look, and right next to him, there's this little girl cheering in his ear. "Come on, Ricky!" Holding on, squatting down. She was probably like 7 or 8. "Come on, Ricky!" So I looked at her, and I gave her enough time, and I brought my foot back so that she could see I was gonna kick, so that she could move. You know what I mean? So she was smart. She moved. I kicked. The whole crowd. Boom! Now the rocks start coming. Right?
Oh shit! They thought you hit. Oh my god!
Let's go. Right?
That's how you get heat. That's how you get
Ricky
heat.
wins. Yeah. I have like 9 police officers surrounding me, right? And I'm still like, "Fuck you, Benzel!"
Right. That's right.
Yeah. If I didn't have those cops, I would have been eaten up easily. So we go after the show. We go down the road, maybe about 2-3 miles, and there's a restaurant. We all the heels all stop at this restaurant. So I'm waiting online. There's like maybe 6 people in front of me. And I look at the menu, and this lady comes up to me, and she's like, "Excuse me." And I'm looking at her, I'm like, "Oh, maybe that's like my mom's cousin because I got family out there and stuff. I don't know, you know." And she's like, "You wrestle on the show tonight, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Were you the one that went to go kick that little girl?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she goes, "All right, well," and she opens up her purse, and she pulls out a blade like this long, right? Perfect English. None of this people from the mountains crap. You know what I mean? No, none of that, right? Perfect.
Oh.
She goes, "Well, the next time I see you, if you ever do that again, this is going to be inside of you." And she walked away, all calm.
Puerto Rico.
The business we love, baby.
Yeah,
the business we
oh
love.
My goodness.
Oh man, and
you
know
can't
what
make
it
these
is?
things up.
It only makes you that much greater, man. It shows that much how humble you are. Yeah, they right. You too humble because that just shows your work that much more perfected. Like you go that much. Your reach is that much further that it can piss somebody off enough to want to kill you. And that's just that's the magic of it all.
Realistically, I mean, all I had to do was say I was from New York in Puerto Rico and say I'm a New Rican, and that's enough heat. You know?
Yeah. That's it.
That little girl, I guess that was the queen in my own, you know what I mean? So
oh dude.
That definitely did the job.
Yes.
Oh god.
That's amazing.
You tweeted
That's amazing.
So I want to switch gears real quick. You tweeted something a while ago, and I remember when I saw it, I was like, "Damn, that's a good. That would be a good discussion here." And luckily enough, we have yet to bring it up, and now you're here. I would love to ask you now. You mentioned something about missing the nostalgia of walking into an arcade of sorts, and just missing the classic video games that were available to play in selection. Talk to me about your gaming life and what are we talking, man? What's your favorite game? What do you play now? What are you doing?
Right now, as we are taping this, I'd show you, but it's kind of a mess. But my phone is standing up against a small Miss Pac-Man countercade, right?
Ooh.
But it's on top
Nice.
of the Street Fighter 12-in-1 arcade table.
Ah, I seen that table
Ooh.
before.
As
Ooh.
I have a TV behind me, and my Raspberry Pi is plugged in because I thought I was going to be doing this audio, and I thought I'd be able
Oh,
to.
okay.
Yeah, now I got everything. You know what I mean? When I was younger, I used to work at GameStop from like 15 until 26. I was off and on in between jobs. If I was, out of work, I go right back to GameStop. And I was actually joking with my mom the other day. She was like, "You didn't have a job." I was like, "Ma, I worked for almost 11 years at GameStop." I was like, "Oh, damn it, mom." I'm not
Oh
going
man.
so,
She might be
but
going to the store. That's all.
no. I didn't hang out. It started out that way when I was 14, but up until I could start working at 15, and once I got that okay, I started working there as, seasonal, and I stayed on. And like, I worked in probably like about 10 different GameStops at one point. You know what I mean? And, but they knew I knew my stuff. Like, as much as I knew about wrestling, I knew even more about video games. So,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah. And now I'm putting my mom on blast because she hates when I tell her, right?
Talk to me. That's the story. That's
When
the one.
7, 8, 9, somewhere in between there, I had written Sega a letter about a video game. I was like, I don't even remember. I know it had something to do with driving, and it was kind of like Grand Theft Auto in a way, like the first Grand Theft Auto, where it's just driving those cars or whatever, and then walk around do missions. But it was like it wasn't like that. You know what I mean? It's just like that, whatever. So I wrote them a letter, and I was like, "Hey, what do you think about this idea?" Blah blah blah. I typed it up all nice. You know what I mean? Like, because I was like, "How am I gonna write this in like crayon? It's gonna look stupid." So I typed it up. I thought I was all hot nonsense because I typed up this letter to Sega. I send it. I don't think nothing of it. Maybe about 2 months later, I get a letter from Sega. And Sega is like, "Hey, we like your idea. Would you like to sell us your idea? We'll give you."
What?
I always say it was $500,000, but it's more like 50,000. I'm pretty sure. You know what I mean?
Wow.
That's a
Your idea.
fucking lot of money for
For
an 8-year-old.
an 8-year-old, yes. So I show my mom. I'm like, "Mom,
Jeez.
look, is this what it says?" And she's like, "Yeah, they want to give you money for this." She goes, "This is what we do." Because it was like April. She's like, "School's over in June. We'll send the letter back in June. Let them know that you're going to take it. But for now, just finish school. And then that way, the summertime, you have this, right?" Okay. So the last day of school, she had put it behind. We had a TV inside of a wall unit, and she put it in the wall unit. So the last day of school, I come home. I'm looking. Oh, maybe she moved it. I'll wait till she gets home. All right, cool. She gets home. "Mom, where's my letter?" "What? Where's my letter for Sega? That we said we were gonna." "Oh, I threw that out. I didn't think you needed it."
Oh
No. My
no,
God.
mommy, no.
Why doesn't
Okay.
why doesn't that story surprise me? Because I had many of those moments with my mother as well.
Bro,
Oh
legit
my
on Sunday coming home, I'm talking to her on Monday. I'm sorry, on Monday I'm talking to her, and she's like, "You still telling people about the Sega story?" I'm like, "Of course. You changed my life with that story, Mom. I could be making video games, making millions, and instead I'm getting my ass beat for being a pro wrestler." And she's like, "Nah, you like wrestling better. It's all right, better for you."